I knew something was wrong the moment I walked into my parents' house to pick up my 5-year-old daughter, Sophie. The unusual silence hit me first. No pitter-patter of little feet, no giggles, no greeting from my energetic child who usually ran to the door. "Hello," I called out, my steps quickening. "Sophie." My sister Diane appeared from the kitchen, looking oddly composed. "Oh hey, Sophie's taking a nap." A nap? At 5 p.m. Sophie hadn't taken afternoon naps since she was 3. Even then, getting her to sleep was like trying to catch a tornado in a jar. She was tired, Diane shrugged, blocking my path to the stairs. Maybe she wouldn't be so exhausted if you weren't dragging her to all those activities. The criticism was nothing new. Since my divorce 2 years ago, Diane had appointed herself the expert on my parenting choices. According to her, everything I did was wrong. From enrolling Sophie in ballet to working full-time. "Where is she?" I pushed past her, my mother's voice floating up from the basement. "Martha, wait. Let her sleep." But I was already taking the stairs 2 at a time. Sophie lay motionless on the guest bed, her favorite unicorn plushie clutched loosely in her small hands. Her breathing seemed shallow, her face unusually pale. "Sophie." I touched her cheek. She didn't stir. "Sophie, baby, wake up." When shaking her gently produced no response, panic clawed at my throat. I scooped her up, her body limp in my arms. "What did you do?" I screamed. "What's wrong with my daughter?" My mother and Diane appeared in the doorway. "Stop being dramatic." Diane rolled her eyes. "I just gave her something to help her relax." The world tilted on its axis. "You gave her something. What did you give my child?" "Just a couple of my sleeping pills," Diane said casually, as if she was discussing the weather. She wouldn't stop asking about her stupid ballet recital, running around showing off her twirls. "Someone needed to teach you both about proper behavior." Horror and rage warred in my chest. "You drugged my 5-year-old? Are you insane?" "Martha, lower your voice." My mother stepped forward, ever the peacekeeper. "Diane didn't mean any harm. She just wanted to show you that Sophie needs more discipline." "Discipline?" I clutched Sophie closer, her head lolling against my shoulder. "She drugged my child. This is assault." "Don't be ridiculous," my mother scoffed. "It's family. Diane would never hurt Sophie. She's just trying to help." Help, always helping. Like when Diane helped by telling my ex-husband of every parenting mistake I made. Or when she helped by criticizing Sophie's clothes, her activities, her excitement about life. "What kind of pills?" I demanded, already moving toward the stairs. "How many did you give her?" Diane's face flickered with something. Uncertainty? Fear? "Just 2 of my prescription sleep aids. She'll be fine in a few hours." "A few hours?" My voice rose hysterically. "She's 5 years old. Those pills aren't meant for children." "Now, Martha," my mother touched my arm. "Let's handle this privately. No need to make a scene. Sophie will wake up soon, and we can all discuss this calmly." I jerked away from her touch. "Discuss what?" "How my sister drugged my daughter and you're trying to cover it up." "I'm trying to prevent you from overreacting." My mother's voice hardened. "Diane made a mistake, but going outside the family will only make things worse. Think about Sophie's future. Do you want her to be known as the girl whose aunt was arrested?" "Arrested?" Diane's composure cracked. "Mom, you said we'd handle this." "Nobody's handling anything," I spat, carrying Sophie toward the front door. "I'm taking my daughter to the hospital, and then I'm calling the police." "You can't." Diane grabbed my arm. "I only did it to show you what happens when you let her run wild. She needs structure, discipline." "Let go of me," I warned, my voice deadly quiet. "You lost any right to an opinion about my daughter when you decided to drug her." "Martha, please," my mother begged. "Think about what this will do to the family. We can work this out ourselves." I looked at them both, my sister, whose jealousy and control issues had finally crossed an unforgivable line, and my mother, whose desire to keep peace had enabled every toxic dynamic in our family. Family? I laughed bitterly. Family doesn't drug children. Family doesn't cover up abuse. And I'm done pretending this is normal. "If you do this," my mother warned, "there's no going back." Good. I reached my car, struggling to open the door while holding Sophie, because I never want to go back to thinking this was okay. As I buckled Sophie into her car seat, her breathing still too shallow, her small body too still, Diane called from the porch. "You're overreacting. She'll be fine." I slammed the car door and turned to face them one last time. "You know what, Diane? You wanted to teach me a lesson. Well, here's one for you. Actions have consequences. And this time you're going to face yours." I pulled out my phone and dialed 911 as I got behind the wheel, watching my mother and sister's faces change from righteous anger to fear in the rearview mirror. 911. "What's your emergency?" "I need an ambulance," I said clearly. "My sister deliberately drugged my 5-year-old daughter with prescription sleeping pills. I'm driving her to Memorial Hospital now, and I want to report an assault on a minor." As I drove away, I could see my mother and sister gesturing frantically in my rearview mirror. But for the first time in my life, their disapproval meant nothing compared to the weight of my unconscious daughter in the backseat. This time, there would be no sweeping things under the rug. This time, I would protect my child, no matter the cost to our so-called family peace. The emergency room erupted into action the moment I carried Sophie through the doors. Within seconds, a team of medical professionals whisked her away, leaving me clutching her unicorn plushie and answering rapid-fire questions from the staff. 2 sleeping pills, prescription strength. About 3 hours ago, my voice shook as I recounted what happened. The nurse's face darkened with each detail. Dr. Patterson, a pediatric emergency specialist, arrived quickly. "We're running toxicology screens and monitoring her vital signs. Mrs. Wilson, I need to be clear, this could have been fatal. Adult sleep medication can cause severe respiratory depression in children." My knees buckled. A nearby nurse guided me to a chair as 2 police officers entered the room. Behind them, I spotted my mother and Diane trying to get past hospital security. "Let us in," my mother demanded. "That's my granddaughter." "Mrs. Wilson." One officer stepped forward while his partner dealt with my family. "I'm Officer Martinez. We need to take your statement." As I described the events, my phone buzzed continuously with messages. "Mom, don't do this to your sister." "Diane, you're destroying everything over nothing." "Mom, Sophie will hate you for breaking up the family." Officer Martinez noticed my distress. "Would you like us to confiscate your phone as evidence?" "Yes," I whispered, handing it over. "They won't stop." A social worker named Miss Torres joined us, her kind eyes radiating competence. "Mrs. Wilson, given the circumstances, we're implementing immediate protective measures. No one except medical staff and you will be allowed near Sophie." Through the window, I could see my mother crying dramatically while Diane argued with hospital security. The sight that would have once filled me with guilt now only strengthened my resolve. "Your sister admitted giving the medication to Sophie," Officer Martinez confirmed. "Yes, she was proud of it. Said she was teaching us both a lesson." My voice broke. "My mother wanted to hide it, said we should handle it privately." Ms. Torres made notes. "This suggests premeditation and a pattern of enabling behavior. We'll need to file a formal report with Child Protective Services." A commotion outside drew our attention. Diane had somehow slipped past security and burst into the room. "You ungrateful bitch," she screamed. "After everything I've done to help you raise her properly." Officer Martinez moved swiftly, restraining Diane as she lunged toward me. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for assault on a minor and now attempted assault." "You can't arrest me. I'm her aunt. I was helping." As they led Diane away in handcuffs, my mother appeared in the doorway, face contorted with anger and fear. "Martha, stop this now. Drop the charges. Think about your sister's career. Think about Sophie." I shot back. "She could have died." "She's fine. You're just jealous because Diane's always been better with her than you." Miss Torres stepped between us. "Ma'am, you need to leave or you'll be removed. I'm her mother. And I'm Sophie's mother." I stood up, finding strength I didn't know I had. "You both lost the right to be near her the moment you decided drugging the child was acceptable." Security finally escorted my mother out, her threats and pleas echoing down the hallway. Dr. Patterson returned with news that made my heart soar. Sophie was starting to wake up. "She's groggy but stable," he explained. "We'll keep her overnight for observation, but she should make a full recovery." In Sophie's room, I held her tiny hand as she slowly opened her eyes. "Mommy," she mumbled. "I'm here, baby. You're safe now." Aunt Diane said I was too excited. said I needed to learn to be quiet. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Did I do something bad? No, sweetheart. I kissed her forehead, fighting back my own tears. You did nothing wrong. Being excited and happy is never wrong. Miss Torres appeared with more papers. Mrs. Wilson, we're filing for an emergency restraining order against your sister, and given their response, your parents as well. We'll need to schedule interviews to document any previous incidents. Previous incidents, like the time Diane had accidentally thrown away Sophie's ballet shoes before a recital, or when she cut Sophie's hair during a sleepover because it was too showy. All the little cruelties I dismissed as sibling rivalry or family dynamics now revealed themselves as something much darker. Whatever you need, I agreed. This ends now. Officer Martinez returned with news that Diane was being held without bail due to the severity of the charges. My mother had been escorted from the premises after attempting to access Sophie's room through another entrance. As the night settled in, I watched Sophie sleep, naturally this time, her breathing steady and strong. My phone sat silent in an evidence bag, but I felt no urge to check it. Let them rage and threaten. Let them try to manipulate and guilt me. They'd shown their true colors, and there was no going back. A nurse brought me a blanket and coffee. You did the right thing, she said softly. Not everyone finds the courage to stand up to family. I touched Sophie's cheek, remembering her usual vibrant spirit, her twirls and giggles that Diane had tried to suppress. Some things are worth more than family peace, I replied. Some things are worth fighting for. The nurse nodded, understanding in her eyes. Yes, they are. And tomorrow's another day to keep fighting. 6 months later, I sat in a courtroom, watching Diane's sentencing hearing. She'd finally pleaded guilty after the toxicology reports proved she'd given Sophie not 2 pills, as she claimed, but 4. Enough to have caused severe harm or worse. My mother sat in the front row, still supporting Diane, still claiming it was all a misunderstanding. She'd spent the past months alternating between threatening me with legal action for destroying the family and sending flying monkeys, relatives and family friends, to guilt me into dropping the charges. None of it worked. The prosecutor stood, presenting the final evidence. Your Honor, this was not a momentary lapse in judgment. Ms. Wilson deliberately obtained prescription medication, crushed it into a child's drink, and watched as that child lost consciousness. When confronted, she showed no remorse, stating she was teaching them a lesson. Diane sat there in her expensive suit, tears streaming down her face. The same performance she'd been giving since her arrest. But I'd seen her true face in that basement room, the satisfaction when she'd watched my daughter lie unconscious. Furthermore, the prosecutor continued, investigation has revealed a pattern of concerning behavior toward both the victim and her mother. We have documentation of multiple instances of tampering with the child's belongings, psychological manipulation, and attempted parental alienation. My mother shifted uncomfortably. She'd been named in the investigation too, though not charged. The authorities had documented her role in covering up Diane's escalating behavior over the years. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s, studied the papers before her. Ms. Wilson, please rise. Diane stood, her lawyer's hand on her arm. What you did was not just criminal, it was a fundamental betrayal of trust. You used your position as an aunt to deliberately harm a child, not in a moment of passion or confusion, but in a calculated attempt to exert control. The judge's voice was steel. I sentence you to 5 years in state prison, followed by 5 years of supervised release. You will undergo mandatory psychological evaluation and treatment. Additionally, a permanent restraining order will remain in effect, protecting both the minor child and her mother. My mother's wail echoed through the courtroom. Diane's composed facade cracked, showing the rage beneath. This is your fault, she screamed at me, you ungrateful, attention-seeking. Remove the defendant, the judge ordered, and bailiffs led Diane away. Outside the courthouse, my mother made one last attempt. Martha, please, she's your sister. Family forgives. I turned to her, feeling oddly calm. You know what, Mom? Sophie forgave me for letting this happen for so long. That's the only forgiveness I needed. You've ruined everything, she spat. I'll never forgive you for this. I know, I replied, and I'm finally okay with that. Later that evening, I watched Sophie at her new ballet studio, twirling with abandon, her face bright with joy. After months of therapy, she was finally dancing again, her confidence returning bit by bit. Mom, she called, running over during a break. Did you see my pirouette? Ms. Adams says I'm getting better. You're amazing, sweetheart. I hugged her, breathing in the scent of her hair, feeling her solid and warm and alive in my arms. Is Aunt Diane going away for a long time? She asked suddenly. Yes, baby, she can't hurt you anymore. She nodded, thoughtful. And Grandma? She's not allowed to see us either, remember. Not until she understands what she did wrong. Like when I have to sit in timeout to think about my actions. I smiled at her simple wisdom, exactly like that. After ballet, we went home to our new apartment across town. Sophie's room was decorated with dancing butterflies and fairy lights, a far cry from the sensible decor Diane had always insisted children should have. As I tucked her in, Sophie asked, Mom, are you sad about not having a sister anymore? I sat on the edge of her bed, considering how to answer. I'm sad about not having the sister I wish I had. But I'm not sad about protecting you. Like how you're my protector in the story we made up. Yes, just like that. After she fell asleep, I sat in our small living room, looking at a new message from my mother. Diane's lawyer says she can get out early with good behavior. You can still fix this. Families should stick together. I deleted the message without responding. On my wall hung Sophie's latest art project, a drawing of us as superheroes, standing tall and strong. The Brave Girls, she titled it, with a rainbow arching over our heads. My phone buzzed again, but this time it was Ms. Torres, the social worker who'd become a friend. Heard about the sentencing. How are you holding up? We're good, I texted back. Really good. And we were. We'd lost a family but gained ourselves. Sophie was dancing again, laughing again, being a child again. I was standing taller, speaking louder, being the mother she deserved. Some would call it a sad ending, a family torn apart, relationships severed. But sitting there, listening to my daughter's peaceful breathing from the next room, I knew better. This wasn't an ending at all. It was a beginning.